Hi guys, please join me on a walk into history. Hello guys, just watching the swallows. There we go, there's one. Whoa. Swallows coming across the lake and flying around. This obviously it's the perfect feeding spot here for them because of the flies around and the midges around this part of the lake. So it's lovely to see them before they go off. As you can see, yet another grey, miserly day. Honestly can't remember the last time I saw the sun. It's been a few days and it's just been the same weather. It's very strange for this time of year. Very strange. But lovely to see the swallows this morning. And then I saw a wading bird. Thought it may be one of the sandpipers we'd seen, but it wasn't. As it flew away, got a couple of photographs, and it was a snipe. 3 of them. Haven't seen a snipe on this lake at all. So that's great. Really enjoyed that sighting. And these bats are getting home late. There's obviously a lot of younger swans on this lake. We know there's only one cygnet on the whole reserve. Hi guys, I've got to be careful when I put my feet today in terms of walking. I'm walking up to an old airfield, which I'll explain more when I get there, but it's about 1.5 miles up this track, and this track is what's called a byway, which is open to vehicles for part of the year. And you can see what happens. There are a lot of these in the UK, and what happens is they let vehicles onto these tracks for, as I say, part of the year, but we end up with like mud bath, or as it is now, dry and heavily rutted. So it's a real ankle breaker walking up here. So I've just got to be a bit careful how I negotiate it, but I'll bring you back in a bit when we get up to the top of the hill. to this old airfield with so much history. Anyway, lots of blackberries around. Let's see what we can find. You can probably see, guys, that we are walking now towards woodland, and this is the edge of the woods that I often travel to, and you can see in here it's very dark and let's see, not far now through the rest of these woods, and then we come out at the airfield. As you can see, we're deep in the heart of these woods now. It's such a beautiful place. Here the track's well made, and the reason the track is well made up here is because this would have been part of the airfield which we're just about to walk to. Let's see what we've got. This is a pretty historic place in my view. And I'll show you and tell you why in a second. Everything's overgrown. You can see there an old aircraft hangar. Amazing. So here we are. It's part of the airport taxiways. If you see over there, all the lights that we're walking towards, that's Santa Pod, which is a drag racing strip, and we get thousands of people up here at weekends to watch the drag racing. And the drag racing actually takes part on the old runway, and the runway obviously was used during the Second World War. I'll give you some details on this rather evocative place. So this airfield was built between 1940 and 1941. It accommodated originally 2 RAF Bomber squadrons, but in April 1942 it was made available to the US 8th Air Force. They flew Boston's medium bombers. And then in September 1942, the famous B-17 flying fortresses. But the runways were too short, so they had to be lengthened to accommodate the 8th Air Force. This is a picture of one of the actual flying fortresses at Podington. They were part of the 92nd Bombardment Group, which is the oldest in the 8th Air Force. They were known as Fame's famous few and flew over 300 operational missions across Nazi-occupied Europe. They also flew in support of the D-Day landings in June 1944. Then in the early 60s, at the end of military control, the new owner was approached by drag racing enthusiasts, and in 1964 the main runway became the Santa Pod Raceway. Just seen a big old brown hare bounding down the track in front of me. He's gone into this field opposite, hunkered down in the corn still here. Anyway, that was good. That was a good sighting. So we're just walking up to the end of the runway, which I think it might be the middle of the runway, but I'm just not completely sure. But I'll show you the runway as we get there. Well, I can almost imagine the World War II bombers taking off along this runway. You can almost hear them as they leave the ground and make their way down towards the Channel coast. Many hundreds and many thousands didn't return, taking off from this place and also places like this across southern and eastern England. So amazing place. So just imagine 80 years ago, this place would have been an absolutely hive of activity, wouldn't it? Incredible. Hundreds of planes, thousands and thousands of people. Flyers, pilots, support staff. Amazing. Okay, so we'll wend our way home. Amazing place, amazing place. And then, in an unbelievable coincidence, the very next day I was over in Cambridgeshire, and suddenly this plane flew overhead. It's the Sally B, the only remaining flying fortress in the whole of Europe. It's based just 25 miles away from me. What a privilege to see.